If you followed my content at all on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, you know that I love to do series where I take some kind of overarching theme for the week and break it down into individual topics that I talk about each day. In fact, I do series so much that some of my connections have dubbed me the king of series. I'll give you some time to bow down before that. Just kidding. But because I do series all the time, I get a lot of questions from people of how do you go about putting together a series? And it's actually a lot more simpler than you probably think it is. All it takes is some planning in advance. Now, what I've done is I've created a resource that I've linked in the comments below that will walk you through the process of creating a series of your own. But basically, you just want to take some time in advance and think through the content that you want to put out. And what I've done is broken it really into 4 steps into creating a series. And what I do is the very first thing I focus on is coming up with the theme. You want to come up with a topic that is broad enough and general enough to make sure that you have enough individual topics that you can talk about each day. So if you've been following this series, you know I'm talking about content. Now, content is a broad enough theme that I could probably come up with individual topics every day for over a year and still not explore and exhaust every possibility underneath this theme. So you want to come up with something broad, something that you know you can talk about from multiple different angles, multiple different topics underneath this theme. The next step you want to do is figure out how long do you want your series to be. Whether that is 5 days, which is what I do. I only really post curated content like this every weekday. Whether that's a full week, 7 days, if it's 10 days, if it's 15 days, if it's an entire month, figure out how many days you want to create content for. Because this will help you to determine how many different topics you need to come up with. Then what I do is I have a brainstorming session. So I take this overarching theme of what I want to do, and I use one of 2 different methods. One is the splatter method, where I take this theme, let's say content, and I just start throwing out ideas that relate to this topic. And I put them down on paper, and really any idea is a good idea. So I just throw it on there, and then I go through and I look at what I've come up with, and I evaluate, is this a good topic? Do these topics interconnect? Are there any duplicate ideas that I could combine into one day? And I come down and get to the point where there are enough different topics for the length of time of this series. The other method I use is to look at the content categories that I explained to you back on Monday when we talked about generating ideas for your content. And so I'll look through this overarching theme and say, what are some how-to content that I could post? What is some don't do content? What are some best practices? What are some behind the scenes? What are some resources that I could share? And if you just come up with one idea for each different category, then you have at least 9 days worth of ideas for your series. And once I have all the ideas, then it comes down to figuring out what order to put them in. Now, on the resource that I've linked in the comments below, I've given you a few templates that you could do for series of saying, like, put this topic in this order and this will create a pretty awesome series. But in reality, what you want to do is just have your series build on each other. So I tend to start with a more generic topic and work towards specific. So I'll start with an overarching theme and then get to the best practices at the end. But I hope that helps you. If you really work through this worksheet, this resource that I've linked in the comments below, it will help you to come up with series that you can put together on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever it is that you are posting content. So I hope that helps. As I mentioned already, there is a resource linked in the comments below. If you go through that and you're still struggling to come up with series ideas, You might want to book a content consultation with me where we can sit down and we can talk through different series that you can do and figure out what the different topics are, so that by the time you're done, you have a number of series worth of content that you can create. I've also included the link to the scheduler where you can book a content consultation with me in the comments below. But as always, if you have any questions, if you're struggling with this, feel free to leave them in the comments below or shoot me a message. I am more than happy to help you. And to those of you who are already producing series yourselves, let us know in the comments below how you plan out your series. Because I wanna come up with and help people find other ways, because I know my way isn't going to be the best way for every single person. So if you are producing series already, let us know in the comments below how you come up with those ideas and how you schedule and organize your series to be awesome content series. But until tomorrow, I hope you all have a great day.